1 year after making sweeping changes to Vermont's gun laws, state legislators are considering a slew of new proposals, including 2 bills establishing waiting periods before completing a gun purchase, one with a safe storage requirement, a ban on 3D printed guns and their instructions, and a requirement that accused domestic abusers temporarily give up their guns, along with 4 bills challenging the magazine limit established last year. Governor Phil Scott changed his position on gun laws to pass last year's restrictions, but he's not enthusiastic about adding new ones this year.
I'm always willing to listen, but I think we've done a lot in terms of gun safety measures over the last year. It's not that I'm saying no, but I'm saying we have other areas that we should be focusing on.
We passed some groundbreaking gun legislation last year that made us, rather than the state with the weakest gun laws, we're now in the bottom third in terms of, I think, of the safety of our gun laws. So we have a little more work to do.
Baruth hopes a 48-hour waiting period for gun sales will help reduce the state's suicide rate.
We've come to realize that suicide is at epidemic proportions in the state of Vermont, and most of those suicides take place with firearms.
After 23-year-old Essex resident Andrew Black died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound last year, his parents used his obituary to call for legislative action on waiting periods. Their plea made national news.
It was 24 minutes that changed one family forever.
A waiting period would certainly provide some buffer between what the person's going through and being able to purchase that first firearm with which they might commit suicide.
Currently, only 5 states and Washington, D.C. require waiting periods on all gun sales. The House is proposing a 72-hour waiting period and a bill that would require courts to order gun removal during temporary relief from abuse orders.
That's really it's the heat of the moment. It's right when the abuse has occurred, and there's lots of data that really is where temper and is really the most dangerous time for a victim.
Meanwhile, one senator is sponsoring all 4 challenges to last year's magazine ban.
What the bill did was eliminated the importation of over 60 firearms because they come with a standard magazine that is larger than what Vermont law allows now.
Rogers' bills provide exemptions to the magazine limit passed last year and increase that limit to 30 rounds.
Quite frankly, I think people like myself in the community that owns firearms feels like we're now a marginalized people. We're now the folks who you can discriminate against. We can't discriminate against people based on their religion, sex, color, or sexual orientation, but we feel like we're being discriminated against because of our belief.
All 8 bills have been referred to committees. 1 year after the gun debate dominated the legislative session, it's unclear which ones will move forward.
I don't think the circumstances are a lot different. I hope we have cooler heads this year. I think a lot of what we did last year was reactionary.
If we pass a piece of gun legislation, we're supposed to be eternally grateful, never look to tighten our gun safety laws ever again. I just don't see it that way. Guns are deadly weapons, and to the extent that they can get into the hands of children or people who shouldn't have them, domestic abusers, people with felony violent convictions, we should be keeping them out of their hands. It doesn't matter that we found one way to do it last year. If they can get them another way, we should be talking about that this year.